lightly kissing her skin, but not enough to make an impact. A sudden gust of wind moved through the branches, and just as Kara paused at the entrance of the cafe, a cyclone of untethered leaves danced and swirled all around her. Kara took a moment to spin, delighting in the fact that no one else was on the street. Not that it mattered if anyone noticed her whimsy. She just appreciated being in her own universe for a time and enjoying the connection with nature. A peaceful moment, just for her and the leaves. Her twirling motion made the leaves linger in their gentle vortex for a moment longer. Then finally, one by one, they let gravity drift them to the ground. She smiled and held out her arms, catching one large orange leaf on her extended wrist. She picked it up by the stem and twirled it for a second, then placed it on the light gray stone windowsill of the cafe. Just then, the heavens decided to open, and the rain came pouring down. Kara managed to duck inside the cafe doorway just in time. She glanced behind her through the glass door. In an instant, the sky had turned charcoal gray. She didn't mind. A quiet afternoon in her favorite cafe, away from the world on a rainy day, seemed like just the thing. She turned back and faced the interior of the cafe. She let out an involuntary "ah." Her heels clicked along the white and black checkered floor. She ran a hand along the smooth surface of the deep purple bar that curved around almost one entire side of the cafe. The edges of the bar ran in a wave pattern. Kara let her eyes flutter along the surface of the bar, looking down. When you looked closely, the seemingly opaque top melded into a misty yet visible see-through space. If you looked down for long enough, you could see an almost hypnotic sea of tiny jewel-like flecks. Kara wove slowly along the edge of the bar, moving with the waves, tracing her hand along the smooth edge and glancing dreamily down at the sparking flecks as she walked. She inhaled a deep breath and glanced around. As always, it was perfectly quiet, and she was alone. There never was anyone in the cafe, no customers or employees. Sighing with contentment, Kara turned and rested her back along the edge of the bar and surveyed the serene cafe. The lights were low, casting a calming glow. When the weather was hot outside and the sun impossibly bright, it was the perfect little spot to duck and recover. Magically, the temperature was always the perfect complement to whatever was happening in the outside world. If it was a freezing cold, snowy day outside, the cafe was naturally toasty warm. On hot days, it was lovely and cool. On this day, it was nice and neutral, safe and dry, and Kara felt nestled away from the now pouring rain out on the street. She casually rested her elbows on the edges of the counter, the soft lights bringing out the warm arrays of purple in the decor. Almost the entire cafe was adorned in various hues of purple, the only variance being the white and black checkered floor and a few paintings along the wall opposing the counter, which had crisp white backgrounds and vibrant splashes of turquoise, providing a nice contrast with the prominent purples. The floor had an array of seating to choose from. The wall directly across from the bar had a built-in table along the wall with bar stools. A line of delicate tea lights adorned the table. Each corner held a large, light gray decorative lantern, the wood intentionally slightly distressed. Inside each lantern held a large white candle, softly flickering and emitting haunting glows in their respective corners. The floor had a number of square tables in the middle of the room, each with 4 plastic bowl chairs with light purple hues. The surfaces of the tables were all smooth and level. Each table had a candle in the center, nestled in place by a purple granite holder. The jagged edges of the granite twinkled here and there, the sparkles giving a mesmerizing effect. Extending out from the middle were all the more plush seating. Directly next to the large window by the door was a 2-seater sported a long purple sofa with a long glass coffee table. Kara lifted away from the bar and made her way to her favorite spot of all, the back area. As she moved toward the back, she smiled. She could sense the spirits of the benevolent ghost witches who maintained the cafe. They were never seen, but always felt. Kara felt very lucky to be allowed to exist in their space. All around her, she could feel their wistful charm and remarkable strength of spirit. She had not noticed at first, but floating toward her was a coffee in a large bowl cup, her exact order, with just the right amount of foam on the top, and an added layer of whimsical sparkle. The coffee floated into her line of sight, and she thanked the spirit for the kind delivery. She reached out and accepted the coffee, then proceeded to move toward the small section in the back. This was her favorite spot in the cafe, not just because of the giant plush beanbag chair, but because the back wall was lined with a very special collection of books. These books were all hardback, tall, and the first and only edition of their kind. The volumes were filled with whispers of the universe and beyond. Each book was a treasure trove of knowledge that Kara could not get enough of. Dangling spotlights above the shelves illuminated the collections. Kara traced her hand along the spines of the books, regarding the titles. She had not even come close to discovering the well of mysteries the texts held. Smiling, she made her selection and liberated a heavy book with a shimmering gold spine from its place on the shelf. She made her way to the oversized beanbag chair, the heavy volume tucked under one arm, and her fingers locked around the handle of the coffee mug in the other. She placed the coffee on a small end table beside the chair and rested the book into the plush chair, then lowered herself down to meet it. She took a moment to nestle herself into the soft chair, letting out a contented sigh as she found just the right position. She felt very cozy and satisfied. She reached over and took a lengthy sip of her coffee. It was perfectly warm and very satisfying. Then stretching out and leaning her head back, she lifted the book from the pocket it had created in the chair. She began flipping through the pages, first finding the table of contents and taking a moment to appreciate all the secrets she would uncover and all the elevated knowledge she would obtain. She traced a finger along the page, smiling. Then she delved in, flipping to the first page, the large book propped in her lap. She rested her right hand on the soft fabric of the chair, toying with it absent-mindedly as she read.